Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Medea J, and so in this video I'm going to be doing a quick review of my January perfume tray and going through all the fragrances that I picked to wear in January, including some that sort of snuck in. So I'm going to be telling you the good, the bad, the ugly, any scent combinations that I came up with, and my overall thoughts about how I experienced the perfume during the month of January. If that sounds interesting to you, then please do consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't, and follow me on social media. It's the same handle, Medea J, and let's jump right in. Okay, so I think it's best for me to do the ones that sort of snuck right in. Like, these were some of the fragrances that I picked off the shelf because I was feeling, vibey. I really wanted to wear these fragrances. There were a few, not many. For the most part, I stuck to my perfume tray, and for the most part, I wore all of them. So that's going to be really interesting. All right. So the first one is this fragrance from Dialect Fragrances, and this one is called Pralin Lavish. Now, this is supposed to be a dupe alternative for the OG Angel by Mugler. Now, I wore the two of them. One, because sometimes I like to wear the alternative fragrance and sort of spray that one. And then I come right in towards the end with the original. And this sort of prolongs the lifespan of the fragrance in my collection, so I don't run out of it quite quickly. I must say that this one from Dialect Fragrances is pretty spot on and very, very long lasting, just like the original Angel. I enjoy wearing it. Very, very simple fragrance bottle. They do a lot of alternative fragrances. Like, I've got one that is an alternative for J'adore by Dior, and let me tell you, it is very, very spot on. So I really, really like the two fragrances that I have from this fragrance house so far, and I really enjoyed wearing this. Now, Angel always gets me compliments. Like I said in my collection video, this is probably one of my earliest fragrances. I know I met my husband wearing this fragrance, and this for the longest time was my signature scent, and then I stopped wearing it for a really long time, and so I was sort of itching to get it back in my collection. I absolutely love this fragrance. It does not hesitate to get me compliments. The longevity, the complexity of this fragrance is insane. The only thing that I now remember I hated about this fragrance was the fact that she doesn't stand. She doesn't have feet. She cannot stand. So she literally lays flat like a star would. So there isn't anything to keep it standing unless you buy a stand from, I think, Amazon. You could probably get one that would display this fragrance quite nicely, but that's just like a pet peeve. For the most part, it sat on my vanity, and I wore this fragrance in combination with this one from Dialect. I wore it a few times and got a lot of compliments. Okay, so another one that I picked up is this little baby. This is Qissa Pink by Paris Corner, and I love this fragrance. It's a beautiful, sweet, floral, fruity fragrance with a lovely vanilla dried down vanilla kick to it. It's very, very comforting, very sugary. If you like Yara Pink, then you're absolutely gonna love this one. It's sort of giving you that bubblegum essence, that tropical sweet type of fragrance. There's coconut, there's apple in this one, so you do get a sharp note, I think, when you spray this, but then it also has some really beautiful florals in it, which makes it really nice. And like I said, it has vanilla, it also has sugar in the dry down, making it quite sweet. Now, I loved wearing this on its own, so I used to wear this to bed. I did a few layering combinations on my Instagram. I wore it with some body butters, some oils, and this fragrance never fails to get me compliments from my husband because it is so, so good. Now, what made it even better was when I combined her with Kayali Yum Marshmallow. Now, these two combined, match made in heaven. I absolutely love it. This one brings that bubblegum marshmallow essence to this fragrance, but with the vanilla and the sweetness from both of them, it is very, very addictive, very intoxicating in a good way, very, very sweet, very girly, very pretty, very feminine. Okay, so I enjoyed wearing this. I could smell myself the following morning once I sprayed this, but to be honest, I only ever wore this combination to bed, and I only ever wore this one to bed, so I don't know what it would perform like in the elements. But for the way that I like to wear it, I'm very happy that I picked up this fragrance. It's so inexpensive and it's such a really beautiful formulation. Since we spoke about the Kayali Yum Marshmallow, let's talk about her because I didn't pick her as part of my fragrance tray. She sort of crept in and she has been creeping in for the last couple of weeks. I've been enjoying wearing this fragrance to bed, enjoying wearing this fragrance to work from home. It's such a comforting, super feminine, super pretty, super girly fragrance, and I find that it actually performs a lot better than when I initially bought this fragrance. Like, the performance of this somehow is just impressing me more and more. I love to combine her with some vanilla body butters. I also like to combine her with some perfume oils just to bring out the lovely sweet and vanilla essence that is behind this fragrance. But this is a knockout scent from Kayali. I've spoken about it a few times, and for the month of January, such a cold month, it definitely gave me the comfort levels that I was looking for. Now, we're probably going to come back to Kayali Yum Marshmallow in a second because I did wear her with this next fragrance. And I'm about to talk about the Commodity Milk fragrance. Now, commodity fragrances have quickly become one of my favorite fragrances so far, just because of the formulation, the longevity, the fact that you can get different levels of the fragrance. So if you like something that is a little bit more intimate, you've got a version. If you like something that is more of a powerhouse, you've got a version. So I really, really like that about this fragrance line. Now, what I really like about the Commodity Milk is that when you hear the name of this fragrance, you would think that it's a very, very lactonic, very like uber creamy, almost sickly sweet type of fragrance. But actually, I would say that it is more of a woody, creamy fragrance, right? Because it just has a woody essence to it, which sort of cuts through the creaminess that you'd expect. Now, it has milk at the top, it has marshmallow, natural musk in the middle, it has mahogany and tonka bean in the base. This is such a great cold weather fragrance. It smells very comforting, but still grounded, still woody, still intense. Great performance, and it just smells amazing. Like, it has a bit of a powdery essence to it as it dries down, but that woodiness stays throughout the fragrance. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this fragrance so much is the nights where I want something more lactonic, I just mix it with Yum Marshmallow, and then it gives me my fix. And then I can go to bed. So I wear this one during the day to work, and it sort of gives me that comfort, but still being very, very grounded, not sickly. But then when I want something really, really comforting, I just combine it with this one, and the two of them combined, amazing. So I really enjoyed wearing this fragrance for the month of January. I definitely recommend it. It is a very well formulated fragrance, and I wonder what the expression version of this fragrance would smell like. So like the Commodity Milk Plus, because I'm enjoying this one so much and it's very long lasting. So I can imagine what the other one would be like. But yeah, I snuck this one in. I got it in December and I didn't get to wear it as much. So I really wanted to see what it was like, and it did not disappoint me. So that's about all the fragrance. No, actually, I lied. There's one more fragrance that I snuck in, but she almost feels like she's been part of the furniture. So I snuck in this one from Maison Majalis, and this is Jazz Club. Now, Jazz Club is one of those fragrances that I will always want to have in my collection. One thing about me is that I love boozy fragrances. Any fragrance that has a boozy note to it, sign me up, because I just love how cold weather friendly it is. It makes me smell really cozy, and it makes me feel like it just makes me feel very expressive. You know, it's almost like a borderline, oh, I'm smoking a cigarette and I'm drinking, and there's nothing you can do about it, but you're not actually doing it. It makes me feel very defiant. So I really love this fragrance this time of the year, because it gives me everything that I need. It gives me that sweetness, it gives me that woodiness, it gives me a bit of spice, it gives me the rum boozy feel. It also gives me that tobacco essence. So the notes of this one, there is pink pepper, there's neroli, there's lemon at the top, then there's rum, there's vetiver oil and clary sage in the middle, then in the base there's tobacco leaf, vanilla bean, and styrax. So these notes combined together formulates this beautiful, smooth, almost like a bourbon, like a dry, no, not a dry, like a whiskey, yeah, like a whiskey type of smell, which I love. Okay, now I wore this on its own a few times to the office, and I got loads and loads of compliments. It smells really amazing. But then when I combined it with Invite Only, and also this perfume oil from Accent Oil, which is inspired by Invite Only, so I'm going to set that one down. When I combined it with those two, insane. Okay, it sort of multiplied that whole defiance by 10. Okay, it just elongated the longevity of the fragrance. It smelled louder, it filled up the room, the central was doubled. Everything that I wanted in a fragrance I got from combining it. So right now I almost feel like anytime I wear this fragrance, I'm definitely gonna want to reach for Invite Only, because they performed so well together and they impressed me so much. Now, that's not to say I'm not going to give a shout out to this gorgeous perfume oil from Accent Oil. I think they did an amazing job with creating a scent based off Invite Only. So this one is called Exclusive Invite. Now, this one is spot freaking on when it comes to Invite Only. It even smells, dare I say, longer lasting, more intense. But generally it gives the full vibe of Invite Only. And I only ever wear this perfume oil with the fragrance because I find that it extends the performance of the fragrance. But now combining it with Jazz Club is on a different level. I highly recommend that you try that. This next fragrance was such a surprise for me. I wasn't expecting it to be this good. And it is L'Interdit by Givenchy, and this is the intense version. I bought this fragrance a while back, but I never actually gave it a full wear. So in wearing this fragrance, one, I realized that the performance of this fragrance is insane. Okay, this is a very bold fragrance, beautiful, long-lasting fragrance. I'm talking easily over 7 hours wear. And I wore this out in the elements. I wore it at home. the scent trail. People asked me questions of what I was wearing. I didn't layer with any perfume oils. I wore it on its own, only moisturized, and fantastic. Now, the tuberose in this fragrance is tuberosing. It's beautiful, slightly spicy, gorgeous white floral. Such an amazing designer fragrance. This is the type of fragrance that I would say works really well when you're going to work, when you're doing your daily activities. It's understated, it will get you compliments, and it smells amazing. Plus, it's very, very pretty, very feminine as well. So yeah, I enjoyed wearing this one, and it's definitely bumped itself up on my list of favorite designer fragrances. So if you haven't got your nose on this, or if you haven't tried it in all of its glory, then definitely do. I don't think you will be disappointed. Talking about disappointed fragrances, I want to say that Athena by Maison Alhambra disappointed me a little bit. Like, you can see where the dent is. So I have sprayed this fragrance and I've worn it a few times this month. I've worn it on its own, and I also wore it with vanilla waffle, and I have to say that in the days that I wore it with vanilla waffle, I enjoyed it more, just because of the sweet caramel vanilla essence that this fragrance oil brings. But this is supposed to be an alternative for Burberry Goddess, and to be honest, I thought I preferred it to the one from Lattafa, but for me it just doesn't give that vanilla essence that I'm expecting. It's very bubbly, it's very bright. It is a beautiful fragrance, don't get me wrong. It's just not what I was expecting. In the few times that I had sprayed this, that I had sampled it, it smelled really lovely. It evolved quite nicely. But in focusing and really concentrating the wear, I feel like I'm not as excited or in love as I was hoping I'd be. Only if I wear it with this oil. When I wear it with a vanilla oil, or this one particularly, it smells really, really nice. So I don't know, I'm sort of on the fence with this one. I probably will try to wear it again, but it's not something I enjoyed wearing. I sort of found myself forcing myself to wear it more rather than wanting to reach for it. So that was pretty disappointing for me. On the flip side of disappointing, this one from Made Exclusive, which is the inspired by version for Bianco Latte, was super delicious. I absolutely enjoyed this fragrance. The more I wore it, the more I felt like it was such a close representation of Bianco Latte. There is something that is a little bit off, not off, but a little bit different in the lactonic nature of this fragrance, but I like it for that type of identity. I feel like it works really nicely with this fragrance. Now, I had a field day with this fragrance. I combined it with so many fragrances from my perfume tray and so many oils. So when I picked this for my tray, I combined it with Cupcake from Naked Scents, and these two together, absolutely delicious. I've combined it with Kayali Yum Marshmallow, again, absolutely delicious. So if you've got Bianco Latte, try it, and then I'm sure you will love it. I also combined it with Quissa Delicious, which we'll come on to in a minute, and this was fantastic. I also combined it with Ultimate Aphrodisiac from Vivamo Perfumes, and again, knockout scent. So all in all, this one was a really, really surprising fragrance. Worked really well with all of the scents that I've shown you, and it still has its own gorgeous identity. Now, you know fully well that I loved wearing this fragrance based on the dent, but she showed up. I wore it to work, I wore it working from home, I wore it to bed. Very, very versatile fragrance. Next, let's talk about a standout fragrance from my perfume tray. And if you know, you know I've talked about this fragrance so many times. This is Initio Side Effect, right? The name is at the top. Beautiful bottle. It's a warm, spicy, boozy, okay? Boozy fragrance, and that's why I love it. I love it even more because Accent Oils also did an inspired by perfume oil called Aftermath. So Aftermath combined with this, the performance is off the chain. The performance of this fragrance on its own, it is really, really good. It has a very good scent trail, but with the perfume oil, it even just brings out the quality of this fragrance. It is smooth. The spice is just delicate. It just gives you that nudge. It is an intoxicating fragrance. It has some of my favorite notes. It has saffron, it has rum, it has tobacco, it has cinnamon, sandalwood, and hedion. And I just love the formulation of this. So if you haven't tried this, I'm gonna tell you, for a winter fragrance, this fragrance is everything you need. Seriously, I couldn't stop myself from wearing it so many times. Almost every time I wore it to work, I got compliments, I got questions, and I had to even decant this fragrance for one of our building receptionists because she absolutely loved this fragrance. She used to say the minute she could smell, like she could smell the scent in the air, she knew I was in the office. So I had to decant her a little bit just so that she could enjoy the fragrance. But I know it's an expensive fragrance, but it's just one of those fragrances that reminds you that sometimes quality comes at a cost, but it's worth it because the joy it brings. I found myself gravitating to this fragrance and the fragrance oil several times. Another one I found myself gravitating towards is this OG of OG fragrances. This is your epitome um, rose and oud fragrance. This to me is what started it all. Such a beautiful, sweet, oudy vanilla fragrance. There's saffron, rose, oud, praline, vanilla in this fragrance, and I feel like it's such a well done scent. Inexpensive, beautiful formulation from Swiss Arabian. The quality of this fragrance is immense. It smells so expensive. It smells like you've been on a Dubai holiday somewhere. You know, you smell so many oils. You know, the smoke, the incense, everything just smells smooth and very, very inviting. The performance of this is fantastic. The central, everything about this fragrance is 10 over 10, and this is another standout scent that I like to wear in the colder months, and I'm so happy that I pulled it onto the perfume tray. This next fragrance was very, very disappointing for me, and I'm talking about Matelda, okay? When I unboxed this fragrance, I was expecting a lot because the fragrance girlies on TikTok, on Instagram, rave about this fragrance, but you can see where that dent is. I have worn this fragrance a few times. I've tried to fall in love with it, but maybe I just need to wear it a little bit more because I am not feeling the hype. I thought I was going to get a vanilla explosion with some florals, some sweetness, a bit of spice. I thought it was going to be all of those fantastic things, but to me, it's a forgettable fragrance. Like, I sprayed this fragrance and I feel like I've forgotten what the scent profile is supposed to be. It's not coming through. It's not like some of the notes such as white grapefruit, violet, tonka bean, vanilla, peach blossom. For me, they're not coming out of this fragrance, and also the performance of this fragrance is very, very lacking. It's not performing well. It's not projecting well. I didn't get any compliments at all wearing this fragrance, and like I said, the minute I spray it, I sort of forget about this fragrance. So I think I may just need to wear it more, but so far it's very, very disappointing. So much so that in the days where I combined it with the perfume oil from Accent Oil called Deliciosa, I think, I smelled the oil only. And I was going, where's the perfume? You know, so that was very, very disappointing for me. But I'm just hoping that maybe I just need to wear this fragrance a little bit more and then I will enjoy it. But so far, I'm not excited. So my review of this is not going to be positive if I review it right now. So I'm going to give it another wear and then see how I feel about it. Let me know if this is what you experience with this fragrance, but so far for me, especially for the price that I paid, I'm not happy. It's not cheap. This next fragrance completely shocked me. I was expecting that I would be repelled by Black Orchid, because if you've watched my perfume collection video, you know that I talked a little bit about my experience wearing this fragrance when I first purchased it. When I purchased it in store, it smelled absolutely fantastic. I loved it. But then when I took it home, somehow it just changed up on me, and then I wasn't feeling it. It just repelled me somehow. Or repulsed me, probably is the right word, somehow. But I've let it sit for years, and I've only just pulled it out again in this perfume tray. And let me tell you something, the girls that get it, get it. This fragrance is fantastic. It's spicy, it's earthy, it's woody, it's sexy, it's sweet, it's everything and more. It's captivating, it's mysterious. Like, some of the notes in this fragrance I could pick out just by smelling it. Like, it's just a very complex fragrance, and I guess that's why it is very polarizing, because it's so complex. But one thing I do want to say is that the performance of this is insane, and the scent trail is insane. If you want people to ask you what you're wearing and they sort of guess what they smell, you will find that every guess is different, just because of how this fragrance translates on body chemistry, nostrils, all of that good stuff. Now, when I combined it with the perfume oil from XN Oil called Vanilla Serenade, again, it sort of amped up the creaminess of the fragrance because there is vanilla in it, but it gave it a different expression, right, with the oil. And I found that with every oil that I combined it with, it sort of gave me a different version of this fragrance, which is why it's such a banger. And it's probably a fragrance that I would repurchase. So I feel like the day that I sprayed this on my skin, maybe I was wearing a different body butter, or maybe I was wearing a different perfume oil that made me fall in love with it. But then when I got home, I took a shower, I wasn't wearing anything, it sort of translated differently on my skin. So be mindful of that. And sometimes it's better to give a fragrance time to really evolve and to be different, you know, every time that you experience it. So this is definitely a wintertime fragrance for me, just because of how heavy it can be. But all in all, I say this to say she's a standout fragrance, and I'm very happy that I gave her a second chance. Okay, so next up is Quissa Delicious. So like I already mentioned, I've combined a few fragrances with Quissa Delicious, but on its own it is a very sweet vanilla fragrance. I enjoy wearing this one. It's one of those comforting scents. I like to wear it to bed. I also like to wear it working from home. It's just an easy, lactonic, creamy fragrance. There's marshmallow in it. It has jasmine. It's got whipped cream. It's very sweet. It's got vanilla. Absolutely delicious fragrance. Great value for money. The performance is about moderate. Lovely, okay fragrance. Didn't have a problem with it. I won't say it's mind-blowing. It's just, because it's such an easygoing sweet fragrance, it's good to combine it with other scents. I actually liked wearing it with Cookie Twist from Naked Scents, because again, this sort of gives you that cookie, sweet, vanilla, sugary type of smell, and combined with this just gave me that sweetness that I'm looking for when I'm working from home or when I'm going to bed. Now, I did combine this fragrance with my body butter, perfume oil, other fragrances which I'll insert pictures of, but on its own it is a decent fragrance, and I actually really like wearing it within the house or to bed. Another one that's just okay for what it is this one from Jessica Simpson, and this is Fancy Forever. Now this is your typical floral fruity fragrance. It's very simple, it's sweet, it's lovely, it's just not mind-blowing. Plus the performance of this is I'll say it's about average at best if you overspray, but it's good for what it is. I do get some muskiness from this fragrance when I wear it. It does have a bit of tropical essence to it from the fruits. It's just not mind-blowing. I suppose when you've got a bigger collection, you know, you have to, it's like splitting hairs. Some fragrances call you in that you are looking forward to wearing them, and then some fragrances are just, okay, I need to wear a fragrance today, I don't really want to give it any brain power, I'm just gonna grab this one. Okay, and that's what this is. It's like an easy rich, very simple fragrance, not mind-blowing, but a good cheap fragrance, and it's, you know, it's good for what it is. I wore this working from home, that's it, and it was fine. It was just out the door type of fragrance. This next one from Oakcha called Blue Smoke. Okay, it's supposed to be an inspired by fragrance from Perfumes de Mali. I want to say that this one is Leighton and then the oil is Haltane, but anyway, this is supposed to be an alternative for Perfumes de Mali Leighton, and it's everything it says. It does smell like Leighton. It's spicy, it's warm, it's sweet, it's creamy, it's fruity, it's lovely, right? The performance of this just sucks, and I feel like there's a lot of alcohol in it, so you have to spray quite a lot for you to get the essence. But I enjoy the slightly powdery feel of this fragrance as it dries down, and when I combine it with the perfume oil from Accent Oil, this one is in Haltane, so it's supposed to be an alternative for Haltane, which is supposed to be the green bottle, I believe. Wait, let me find out. I think it is the green bottle. Yeah, it's supposed to be the green bottle. Yeah, so this is supposed to be a dupe of Haltane, and again you get that woodiness, that spiciness, and you get a little bit of freshness come through and a little bit of sweetness. So combined with Blue Smoke, it works really, really well, right? The oil, I feel, gave it the performance that I needed. So I feel like if I'm ever going to wear Blue Smoke again, I definitely have to wear it with this perfume oil because they combine really, really nicely. Is it an inexpensive way of trying Leighton from Perfumes de Mali? If you don't want to fork out all of that money on the onset, then absolutely yes. Is it going to give you everything that you need? Does it have the performance, the longevity, the central? It does not. Combined with the perfume oil, probably, but on its own, it really doesn't. So a bit disappointing. I was expecting for at least a decent performance, but like I said, it just doesn't perform well enough, and I feel like I have to spray a lot to be able to get the essence. But with the perfume oil, it works really nicely. I'm going to quickly go through this one because I don't even think you can easily get your hand on it. I believe there's only one supplier that I've come across that stocks this, and that's filled with Baraka. And this is Ithra by what is it? Is it Ithra from... Anyway, I'll put it on the screen because if you haven't watched my perfume tray, I'll put the name, but please go ahead and watch my perfume tray. It has the breakdown of all of the notes and what I think about the fragrance. Now, I love this fragrance, okay? This fragrance is strong. It's strong, but it's not oody. I was expecting it to be oody, but it's not. It's strong, it's spicy, it's very wearable, okay? It's smoky. It's, you know, you feel like a rich princess when you wear this fragrance. I love it. I think if you can get your hands on it, you definitely need to try it. And I combined it with Oud Sweetie, which sort of has that oud essence, but it's very sweet. So the two of them, yeah, the two of them combined together just gave me that elevated oody fragrance that I was looking for from this one. So I got the spice, I got the oud, I got the sweetness. So these two combined worked really well. I will link where you can purchase this if you're interested in trying it out, but I do recommend it. I feel like it's a good cold weather fragrance, and it really did surprise me in a very good way. And finally, I've got Ultimate Aphrodisiac from Viva More Perfumes. This is supposed to be a nutty, sweet, creamy, coffee type of fragrance. There's bitter almond, there's rum, there's cinnamon, there's cocoa butter, there's brown sugar, there's chocolate, there's vanilla, there's coffee, there's musk. It's supposed to be all of the things, but I just feel like, yes, you can smell all those things, but again, it's similar to Matilda, where I spray it and I sort of don't, it sort of doesn't have an identity on my skin. It just sort of fades away, and it's not giving me the intense feeling that I thought I'd get, thinking of all the notes that I've just called out. You know, there's rum in there, and I love boozy scents. I feel like you get all of that when you first spray it, but then as it dries down, it just becomes less and less impressive. The performance is about moderate, you know, and I tried combining with different oils, including cookies and cocoa from Naked Scents, which did do something. It did make it sweeter, it did make it more enjoyable to wear. I just feel like I was a bit let down by this fragrance. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting more than it gave me. So maybe I need to revisit it later on, but for now it didn't impress me much, to be fair. And yeah, I did put this spray from Sol de Janeiro. This is After Hours. I put it there because I wore it once, but we're not going to talk about her because she was only a one-time thing. And that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me as I went through my January perfume tray. I definitely had a few standout fragrances, like I mentioned in the video, and there were some fragrances that I was expecting a little bit more and didn't get a lot of joy from. But all in all, this is the essence of having a perfume tray. It gives me the opportunity to try fragrances, to fall in love with my fragrances, to identify the ones that I can't do without, the ones that I probably need to part with at some point, and some combinations that, you know, just elevate the essence of my fragrances. So if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't seen the perfume tray video itself, I will have it linked in the description box. I do have a playlist for all of my perfumes, so if you wanted to binge watch that, including my perfume collection of over 300 bottles. So thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to my February tray, you know, Valentine's Day and all of that good stuff. I'm definitely going to be leaning into the girly fragrances, the really sexy, sweet girl, pretty girl types of fragrances. So I'm looking forward to shooting that video, selecting my fragrances and shooting it. But either way, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment below and I will catch you in a future video. Bye.